Okay.
Yes.
Okay, everybody, go ahead and get us started. We got a little bit to cover, not a whole lot, but kind of get some logistics done. I've sent out emails and posted some announcements, and I assume that everybody knows how to log into Connect, into Canvas. If you don't, it's just simply you go. I'll show you real quickly. I have to move this. You're seeing my view instead of just yours. Go to OKBU. All right, and then you can go and do the. You can do the search, and it's right there. Now, you log into Canvas the same way you do with your email. Okay, and if you should get stuck or get lost or whatever, you can always go over to search, and then I would do login if you're having that trouble. And what you'll find is the help desk. You can click on that, and they'll show you some quick links on getting some help to get yourself logged in. And I'll click that off for a second. And there's one of them that literally takes you through. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you should be good to go there, and go ahead and log in. And anytime you do any work, log in because they're on us about keeping everybody's attendance and all this business. And the way you attend is you log into Canvas, and then I have analytics that it'll run. I've sent you some emails about the format, and what's happening right now is I'm recording this as a screencast, and then I'll post it. Now, when I do a live one like we're doing right now, when we're finished, I'll record this, upload it to YouTube, and I'll put the link over in the announcements area so you can see it. So if you miss something, you don't have to get all freaked out about it. And then if I have something pre-recorded, I'll also post it over in announcements, and I'll always send you an email or a message and let you know that it's there. And I'm going to basically record all the sessions so that if you're not able to be here or something like that, you can take a look at it. And for example, if there were some of you today who couldn't be here, then it's simple. Wherever you are, you log in and view it remote, or you look at the recording. It matters not to me. I've got this set up such to make it as convenient. I sent you a long email talking about all that. And basically, the way this course works is it's a Monday, Wednesday. Man, Monday we're gonna meet live unless something happens, like next week, obviously, because it is Labor Day. But then on Wednesdays I'll live stream. If not, I'll have something pre-recorded for you, which I would have covered in class anyway. Navigating around here is not that big a deal, so you should be logged in, and I want to kind of show you what we've got going on. It's a little different than Moodle, but a little bit cleaner. If I click on this, for example, this has all the stuff that you're used to been seeing in Moodle if you take a class with me. The syllabus attachment, the ethics code, all of that type of stuff, okay? Now, there are going to be some things you're seeing in here today that I haven't published, which, so don't let that throw you, because I'm in the instructor view. Now, in addition, okay, I'm going to walk you through, of course, the announcements. That's pretty intuitive. The assignments, I want to show you this. This is one of the nicer things about Canvas. Anything where you need to upload a file, you're going to find it over here in assignments, and typically it will have it listed for you in chronological order, okay? So if you want to know what's due, it's there. Now, the other is, and I like this one better, is it's kind of misnamed, but it is what it is. It's called the course syllabus. I don't know why, but what it has is every single thing, okay? And, you know, knowing me, you know, I've taken the modules and I've organized them week by week by week. So if you want to know what's due, okay, and what time it's due, it's all right here. Fair enough? So there shouldn't be any big deal. And now the other is, you'll see another thing here called quizzes. If you click on it, these are all of the quizzes would be all of the online exams, okay? I like the syllabus part because it mixes everything together so you know exactly what's due at a given date and time, okay? And the points that are attached to the whole business. I want to talk about the textbooks for the course. There's this textbook, okay, Management Information Systems, and then there's another textbook, and it's called the social. Let me go back to the syllabus run. My brain is dead. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, y'all. I'll go just back over here for a moment, and now this okay. This will work. If you're looking for if you look for things, you're going to find the files area. Okay, for example, is going to have point distribution on assignments. It's going to have the syllabus for the course, any kind of files that's used anywhere in the course. You're going to be able to see all of that. And it's called the Hypersocial Organization. That's the name of that text. So I'll show you real quickly what it looks like. You can get it from the bookstore, or you can get it, well, contractually I'm obligated to say get it from the bookstore. Okay, let's leave it at that. And I've incorporated this text for a very simple reason. Here's a review, but you're going to find it over at, you can find it over at Amazon, and I'll just go to my Amazon link. Boom. And there it is. Okay. You can even peek inside of it if you want to, but it's a textbook that you'll use to do a self-help quiz at the end of the course. But it's really, really good because it's one of those few books out there that really shows us how to take MIS concepts, which have been around quite a while, and apply them to the use of social media platforms. So I definitely want to make sure that you see it, you read it, etc. Now, I'll go back here for just a second. The files area, as I said before, you'll find any student files that are with the textbook, etc. Those are going to be over here. I'm going to have things like the final schedule. That's here. So there are multiple places you can find the information that you need. It's probably going to be the most intuitive, I think. If you want to just know what's due, you can go to the syllabus area. But if you want to see how things fall in terms of the progression of the course, okay, here it is. No different than you've ever had a class with me before. If you take one in Moodle, I have it week by week because that's kind of how we all live. Navigating around shouldn't be that big of a deal. And like I said, right now, once we're finished with class, I'll stop this recording, and I'll post it. So if you can't be in class, that's no excuse to miss class, because you can come back and see the video. I record it. If I record it, we're in this room, or I live stream it from somewhere, it's still there. It's there, and you're responsible for seeing it. I think I had included a link to how to create a transcript with YouTube in those files, and so you should be able, I think, to click on more, and then it has little things transcript, and the transcript will give you a written copy, because you can obviously read faster, than I can speak. But the bottom line is, now, if you want, again, these are videos, so you can go back and replay it, fast forward. And I would say if you hit a point that's kind of questionable, I'd use the closed caption on the videos. YouTube has a closed caption function. I've got it set up on these, so it should be working. So you should be able to do it. The exams, they're online, and you can do them at any time up to the point where they're due, and that's, again, pretty simple. So if you were wanting to see what's due. Now, I had an assignment that I assigned for today, and I also had provided some instructions for everybody. Let me get myself back over to 3503 for a sec. And there we go. Now, I try to give you some ideas. For example, like we don't have class next month, Labor Day. So this is all a little bit discombobulated right now. That's okay, not a big deal. But again, the syllabus, okay. And I'd given you some instructions. In fact, every time you see an assignment, I'm going to click on this for a moment. It's going to tell you exactly what I want. Okay. Now you'll also find I have a file in there, but and this. So if you were asking me about what I wanted in terms of this today, fine. Now I realize this is the first time on these, and it's going to be a little bit rough. But what you should understand is what I'm really after is, rather than a big long hairy paper, would be more like a memo. Okay, and to hit these points. And what I want you to do is, of course, follow up on the case, and I identify the case where it's at. And as I say, I want you to make sure to be ready. If I call on you in class, there are going to be some days when I come in, we'll just take a look and see how people respond to the cases. And so you need to be ready to answer. And if you're remote somewhere and you can beam in, fine. If you're here, fine. But the point is, if you don't do the work here, you can lose some points, because this class is some of it's grounded on discussion, and we have enough of us in here. It should work fairly well. I'm going to stop for a second. Anybody got a question I could try to answer for you? Pretty clear so far.
Is this first assignment? Was that due
It was due today at 2 o'clock. Yeah. And this has been, the classes started the 24th, and I've had this up all the time. So, yeah, it was due today. Now, if you want, I will reset an extension. But let me say this, from here on out, okay, you need to be on top of this, and you really should have, the assignment's been here, and the room's been up, and I've sent everybody invites twice, and you should have had it done. I might relent, and I'll see how many of us did them, and I'll take a look at it. But the main thing is, from here on out, you know what, when stuff is due, you need to get it in. Okay? All right. Now, part of this, and to get the most of this, is to is for you to be a little bit self-motivated. I'm not going to hold your hand. You'll know when stuff is due. This is, the assignments are here. You can access this however you want to, and I'm not going to browbeat you if you don't turn stuff in. I'll just give you zeros, and take advantage of this format and use it. So if you have, like what I'm streaming here today, what I'm recording, you can reach it through a phone, you can reach it through a tablet, an Apple, a PC, whatever. My advice would be, if you come in this lab, you're going to have you'll hit an issue because it doesn't have audio output. So you might want to listen on your phone or look it on a tablet or something like that. That's been something I kind of bark at them about, but they're afraid, I guess, you'll come in here and play loud music and hurt people's eardrums. I have no idea. Okay, now, what else do I want to take a look at? Now, I get on this people, when I click on that myself, I get all kinds of data about whether you're here, you're not, whether you logged in or not. So I get a whole set of analytics. So, again, I can't emphasize enough to you that the registrar's office is really on our case. And this is because we're an NCAA school. Attendance is absolutely positively a big deal with them. How do I keep attendance? Well, I'll go in and I'll click on the people and I'll see who logged in, how long you were here. Then I'll go into the analytics and I'll be able to see, did you work on something? Did you turn something in? If you're kind of MIA, at a certain point, I have to notify the registrar. So I do know, what's going on with everybody in terms of your participation. The quizzes, the exams, they're open book, they're open note like you've had with me before. I think many of them are timed. And again, they're due when they're due, just like this work. The one kind of disadvantage of this course is that it's pretty highly conceptual. And here's what I mean. MIS is about how do I take, the title of the course is Management Information Systems, okay? And it's exactly what it means. It means what it says and says what it means. And it's how do I take a particular type of information system and meld it and mesh it with the other information systems in a company. For example, a customer relationship management system. How do I match it up with accounting? How would I match it up with the inventory? How would I match it up with production? And then on top of it now, and MIS courses have been around for quite a while, is this layer of social media platforms. How do we layer that on top of this traditional kind of model that we have for MIS? And so the reason that I went ahead and I'm going to have you work through that hyper social organization textbook is so you could see there are a lot of ideas out there about how do we do that. Okay, how do I take Twitter data? How do I take data from Facebook, Instagram, on and on? Our website, if you have a landing page, and what do we do with it? And how do we use it to enhance company mission? All information technology really should be designed to do one thing. It should be decision-centric. It should be designed to help you make decisions. Computer science is about writing computer programs. Computer engineering is about developing hardware. IT is about decision making. And one of the challenges of trying to mesh these systems, and the bigger a company gets, the more complex it gets in terms of meshing the systems, is this notion of what we call a dashboard, or what we call key KPI, key performance indicators. What 5 things do I need to know today that are going on with my company that are critical, okay? And that's going to differ or change at the given level you're working at. So because this is such conceptual material, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it, because it is what it is. And if you haven't had the experiences to see it and to work with it, it's very difficult. Miss Turnage, who was with us, who used to teach this course because she had worked for the gold standard, that was in the IT systems people at Walmart, who, other than Amazon, they are the gold standard. I've had some experience with working one piece of that whole puzzle. So in that sense, I'd have to say I really had to bone up and read up a lot to get myself somewhat up to speed to understand how we're using this stuff and how to use it. I think in next semester, the new faculty, computer science faculty member, is going to teach it. So I've not taught this course simply because I just didn't have that overall CIO or IT kind of thing. I've worked with one particular piece of it, but that's okay. We'll work through all of that. Now, I want to show you some of the other areas in here. Click on the discussions for a second. And I have some discussions with announcements, course community, course questions, stuff like that. If you have a question or something of that nature, pop it over to me, and I'll be happy to try to answer it. If you post it on here, I might not see it for a day, So, there might be an issue. I'm not going to have you do discussion boards or any of that stuff. I think they're somewhat useful, but I don't know. Does everybody have a grades? So you click it, you can see your grade book, how you're doing. And then you're going to see a thing called, you got pages? Okay, let's look at it for just a second. Okay, these are just different types of documents or pages that I've created, and you can pop over to them. For example, if you're curious about what's happening in finals week, there it is. Not any big deal. They're really placeholders more than anything. That's somewhat useful. The modules is really what you're used to seeing and what I'm used to working with. And for example, this, I've got a whole set of resources here for you. Of course, some links over to Banner and to Jupyter Grades, some professional resources like Facebook, Twitter. Again, you've taken a class with me. You're hearing me talk about this. I really think it's a good idea. Good idea to go over and take a look at Harvard Business School or Sloan Management School, what they're saying, what they're talking about. Knowledge at Horton is another. Stanford Business, their Insights site. So these are places. These are links to online publications that I really think if you want to be really up to snuff, you ought to be taking a look at them. When you go out to work, when you go out to interview for a job, if the folks interviewing you don't sense that you're thinking somewhat like an owner of the business, or you're thinking somewhat like an investor, that's not going to be best for you. They might see you as someone they can use, but on a very limited basis. So if you want to kind of get that feeling of what are people saying about, okay, what do we do about all this data that's out here and what people call big data, that's stuff you need to be current with and be on top of it. I've got some information here in terms of course resources and policies. Here's the ethics code, okay? Here's the syllabus. It's in a PDF. And then there's the attachment. And then I've got a course schedule here, okay? And again, the modules are going to show that. There are multiple places to see this. This shows you the points of letter grades. I'll open this up for just a second. Now, this is a good time for me to give you a little bit of a bit of help in terms of navigation and just dealing with this. You can notice I clicked on it and it's like taking forever to pop up. So my belief is that you're better off, okay, to download this stuff and then open it up, because the rendering device on here, the viewer is it's as clunky as it can get. So if you want to kind of see what's going on in terms of grades and how that's all, here it is. You've got some hands-on projects, okay, that are more akin to what maybe you've done with 1123 or 4403. Then you've got the case follow-ups, and I've walked you through what my expectations are for the case follow-ups. And then they have some interactive sessions, okay, and there's some pretty explicit instructions on them. Then I've got exams over the chapter, okay, and then I've got a study there. As you know, near the end of the course, I always like to give you a hands-on type of assignment, and then also I'll give you a couple of exams that you will take during the final exam period. And if you've had class with me, you know that typically I have this is due at the start of the finals. This is due at the end of finals, and the stuff that's due at the end of finals is usually takes you 2 hours. Now, you can work ahead, and I would really say we're gonna hit a point here. If you've had classes with me before, I take a week, 2, or whatever, and it's okay. This is some flex time to work on some big stuff. And if I were you, I would certainly take advantage of that, and then you kind of know the drift as far as how that goes. But that's pretty much shows you the point layout and distribution of what's going on. A lot of emphasis in terms of the exams because of the conceptual nature of this course, and just trying to kind of give you some of those concepts and overviews. I want to take, and you ought to have your book. How many of you have your book? Good. You might want to grab it and open it up. And if you don't bring your book, it'll be problematic, because if I'm trying to, kind of do a little explanation, there's kind of a problem. I'm going to go into files for a minute. And let's see, I've got the final schedule to online policy. I've got the risk assessment doc. Let me see if I've got anything else. Okay, I've got an explanation about virtual Wednesdays. Follow-ups. And if you really want to kind of get a feeling, and you say, well, you've said this class is really very conceptual. What do you mean? It's, okay, when we talk about a system, okay, we're talking about something that has a set of components that if the system's operating like it should, they all mesh together, okay? And that means, for example, if a customer places an order with me, all right, through a customer relationship management system, or maybe a web market or an e-commerce market, then if they buy something, it ought to be accounted, and the order ought to be accounted for in some type of client or software dealing with inventory. And then it ought to be dealt with in billing, and marketing needs to be included. And that's to get everything all pulled together. And it becomes increasingly difficult the bigger a company gets. So when I say this is conceptual material, it really truly is, because it's almost like the capstone course for all of these BISS courses. But you're going to need to be familiar with them, because if you own your own firm, or the higher you go up in a company, the more you're going to encounter this, and you'll have to kind of understand and see how that all meshes. Because what happens is, if you make a change in one piece of the system, everything else has to be changed and adjusted. I want to show you a good example over there on page 5, okay? And you can see they're walking through, and notice what they've got. They've got a business solution, that purple box, all right, that's fed back through some business challenges, or what we would call business case or business problems. And those feed into management, organization, and technology. How do we blend the three of those and then pull them into an information system? And you can see those systems listed there. Now, one of the other challenges that we're facing with these systems in terms of social media is also the ability, or lack thereof, to build predictive analytics. So if I'm, the best people in the world are Amazon. They know every single purchase you've made, every time you've come to their website, put stuff in a cart and didn't buy it, every time you just came to their website, where you came from, etc., ad infinitum. That allows them to build predictive data. If you were to, what we've been good at has been getting historic data, but that doesn't mean that what happened in the past is a harbinger of what's going to happen in the future. And so we've tried to build these. And any of you who are taking or have taken management science with me, no, we do nothing but optimization, optimization, optimization. And I'm always trying to find something I'm going to minimize, maximize, or I have a target value. And then I have to figure out, okay, what type of relationship between the variables, okay? Is it linear? Is it nonlinear? I'm just absolutely not sure. How do I handle that? And then what are the constraints I operate with? So this comment, or this little bullet point here, where they're talking about optimizing ticket sales. They're trying to say, okay, how can I maybe use an auction methodology to handle ticket sales? Airlines do this all the time. They do it because they're a highly capital-intensive type of organization. They got a lot of money tied up in planes. Every time they fly into a place, they have to pay a fee to that airport. And so if the plane has 300 people or 50 people, it's still flying from Oklahoma City to Dallas. And so to get more than 50 people on there, because they know how many they got to have to break even, how many they got to have to make a profit, then they'll do an auction system with their tickets. And that's why you'll see such fluctuations. And that's why there's some intermediaries out there like Travelocity, people like that, who act as an intermediary between you and them to lower the asymmetry of information that you've got. So you can go check. And there's some hotel site I see, and they'll tell you, we can give you 150 prices for the same room. And you'll get those offers because if I'm running a hotel like an airline, it's highly capital intensive, and the room's sitting there, and I'd rather get $50 out of a $400 room than nothing. Because if I have a $400 a night room sitting empty, I'm not getting anything. If I get $50, I've got something. So that auction model or the use of an intermediary is there. The textbook tries to walk you through this in the first couple of chapters to kind of get you involved. And there's that one interactive session on page 9. Take a look at that for just a second. Now, I know for some of you that the format of this course is one you're not comfortable with, and I understand that. Gosh, we're not going to meet every Monday and Wednesday, and I'm going to have online stuff and online. Yeah, because you may go to work for somebody who has you and 50 other people stretched among 8 time zones, and you'll be working in a virtual environment. So it's better that you get ready to do that now and be comfortable with it than feel uncomfortable when you've got to do a project with someone who's in Australia and maybe somebody else who's in France or whatever. That's just the way the global economy is working itself out. So what we're doing here is giving you some real practical experience in dealing with that and kind of getting a feeling of how do I work remote, how can I try to stay connected and use some of those tools. So I'm trying to not only make this convenient for you as I explained in that long-winded email I sent you, but also to give you a sense of what it's like out there, okay? Other than the tech companies, I'll take them for an example. I don't care if it's Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, the majority of their employees are located all over the world. They're not in an office, okay? If you're in Silicon Valley and you're Microsoft, you can't pay your people enough to live there. You'd have to be paying them $500,000 to $1 million a year because that's how bad the housing shortage is, because all the houses have been bought up because Northern California is full of tech millionaires and billionaires, so the houses get snatched up. So what do? Well, they have people that work remote. So this is to help you get acclimated to that and have a comfort level with it. The other is to try to get you start to do some systems thinking, okay? And that is, let's talk for a moment. When we use that word system, what do we mean? And this is important because when you're thinking at this level, okay, you've gone from being a business undergraduate to somebody with your freshly minted business degree to a person who is promotable to a person who may see a business model and create their own company, okay? A system is really this. It's a series of parts. It has inputs, throughputs, outputs, throughputs, or you could say processing and outputs. And a key part of that is what we call a feedback mechanism, okay? Then every system has boundaries. How permeable are they? You say, what do you mean? Well, let's talk about that for just a second. A company that has scientists, for example, a pharmaceutical company, it probably has very thin boundaries because the people who are developing those pharma products are probably interacting with other scientists and other researchers about it. They're probably dealing with the regulator at the same time. So they're not closed off just doing their thing. The outside world's impinging on them. Okay? If you're a manufacturer and you're trying to, and you've based your strategy on trying to build customized, utilize mass customization, you're very permeable. You don't have any boundaries because you've got people saying, well, okay, here, this is what I want. This is what I want exactly like this, blah, blah, blah. And so you send it. So, you know, you can go build your own car if you want to at one of these websites. It's run by one of these folks and place your order. boom, they ship it and you pick it up. Okay, so that doesn't always mean that it's a good thing, because if you don't have the boundaries that you need, if you don't have at least some type of boundary, eventually you'll kind of implode on yourself. But the systems, that whole thought process systems are very important. The other is understanding that anytime you make a change in one piece of a system, it goes through the entire system. It's like throwing a rock in the middle of the lake. Okay, and once you make a change in one piece of the system, it's all out there. That's a hard thing to see and grasp and understand until you work at a level where you make one change and everything goes crazy. Okay, and where making one change just kind of like creates this crisis for other companies. Folks have problems being siloed. I'll give you a good example. Right after 9/11, everybody said, how did that happen? We've got 17 different agencies in the United States government and collect information on bad people. How did that happen? And the FBI said, well, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna integrate our system. Literally at every single regional office of the FBI, it was like they were their own FBI. They didn't share information. You said, that's insane. That's how crazy it was, because they had become siloed. And so what they might have in one region, they didn't have the same. So the FBI is now in its 10th year or 12th year of trying to get its systems meshed so that people in one part of the country talk to people in another part of the country, much less meshing that with the airlines, meshing that with other people. So this stuff of changing systems and working with them gets tough fast. So the types of things we'll look at here will be a lot of times when we're dealing with those systems issues. And I have some hands-on things that will be maybe a little easier to throw your head around, but a lot of this will seem like it's very ethereal material, and it is if you haven't worked at that level, but you need to be ready to do that one way or the other. Now, over on page 8, okay, they have just a whole list of stuff that's new in management information systems, okay? And one of the reasons at the end of this course I have you do a hands-on project on infotainment is because what we're seeing happen is that the value of every new vehicle, the percentage that's built in with software, okay, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So really what you have are the cars are really nothing more but a chassis and some wheels and an engine with a whole bunch of sensors. Question? Oh, okay. So, and when my wife and I bought a new car this last summer, and I started to go through the sticker and look at that, and I was kind of shocked because it had been about 5 years, 6 years since we bought a new car, and 30% of that vehicle was bound up in sensors, infotainment, etc., not the vehicle itself. And when you think about it, stop and think about, how do I take data, for example, and you press a button and you have the settings for driver number 1. You press a button, you have the settings for driver number 2. What do we do with that kind of information? Because it's in sensors and it gets stored. And if you've bought a car lately, probably every car now probably has a kind of little app thing that you can put on your phone and all this stuff. How do I mesh that data in to marketing? How do I take the data I collect in cars I sell, and people say maybe they get Sirius XM and they watch they consistently listen to 6 or 7 different channels. How do I get that data out back to someone where they'll pay me for that type of access? Or what does it tell me about the type of person who's buying my vehicles? Okay, so in many senses it's very practical, but in many senses it's way out there. It's big picture kinds of stuff. So you can see those changes that have occurred. Okay, my one little piece of all of that has been company strategy, and just the idea of building a dashboard system okay, and trying to figure out and build algorithms that we can use to find out, okay, what will happen if we do X, Y, and Z. It's mind-blowing to me how much has changed. And if you've had some classes with me, you've had me talk about mapping systems that are out there. Now how people use maps to do all types of things, especially in terms of marketing. So it's a big picture kind of course, and I really can't, I just can't, I can't emphasize that enough to you. I think, and I want to go back here to the modules for just a second. Everybody pretty comfortable now about navigating through here and all this business? Okay, good. Now, I've got a little blurb on that. And we'll pop this open. This will tell us what we've got going on this week. Okay. And I'll go back. Now, what I haven't done is collect a lot of stuff like you usually see me do in terms of informational kinds of things, examples. I want to pop down here. Okay, now here's the case. All right. And let's look at this for just a minute. This will be instructive for us. Now, this is a case follow-up, okay? And I give you, and you can navigate it down to see everything. You say, where will I find this assignment? All right. And this is over on, let's see, this is case, I'll put this back up here. Page 73. Should a computer grade your essay? Okay. Let's pop over to 73 for just a second. Now, they'll give you some background about the case. All right. Now, there are when you hear people talk about, use these terms, okay, artificial intelligence versus robotics. Robotics have physicality embedded in them. They can pick something up. This summer, I saw just an incredible thing that's going on with Lowe's. The lumber people, the hardware people, they are designing a suit. It's more like kind of a smock that is robotic, and a person can put that thing on, okay, and they can lift 300-400 pounds, and that machine does the lifting, so they don't get hurt, okay. And they are doing all kinds of things. They're creating virtual reality chambers, all types of stuff. So robotics has stuff that's attached to it with physicality. Artificial intelligence is something that finds or looks for or works from a rubric or a algorithm, okay? And so this essay is helpful because anytime you apply for credit, there's an algorithm that's used to determine your credit score. Anytime you go and you purchase something, there's an algorithm that is used to see if they can convince you to purchase something else, or at least they'll capture it, and then 3 days later you start seeing ads for complementary products. So this is a big thing that's going on, and the holy grail right now in my field is, can we find something that I can, like Word, I can open it up and I can train it to look for certain phrases, certain words, and have it check your spelling, make sure you conform to APA, and dump your paper, and then issue a grade. So if I assign you a paper that says, talk to me about the use of computer-aided design in the automotive industry, okay, and I have an AI tool that has algorithms built in, it's going to do all that and do your grade. Because this industry that I'm in is subject to extreme cost pressures like any other, and we're a high capital intensive type of industry. We build dorms, we build basketball courts, we've got administrative offices and classrooms, That's a lot of overhead. That's a lot of overhead. And so people are out there saying, is there a way that I can, have a class that has 1,000 people and handle it and do the grading and have those grades, and they're fair and they make sense, and you have comments inserted and all the stuff that you want when you get your paper back from some of my colleagues who will write it all up, okay? And you'll turn in your paper and you get it back and they've written all this stuff, and they'll give you some encouraging things, and they'll give you some maybe discouraging things. They'll pop a grade at the top, and there it is. And so they'll sit hour after hour after hour. There are people out there saying that's insane, because at 9 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, they might give 2 different grades to the same person, especially if they're reviewing them blind. Okay, so how can we build a little robot or an AI tool that will grade your essay? Okay, so I think it's something for you to think about, and I've got some points here built in for you in terms of the cases selected, what motivated you to do it. And now I'm going to assign you some cases, and there will be some times, if I'm not mistaken, where I kind of have a wild card where I let you choose for some cases from a different chapter. I'm not sure. But this whole notion, okay, of doing a follow-up is I want you to take that and just follow up on it, answer these questions. Now, what am I after? I'm after something in a memo form. I don't want a 25-page paper, a 5-page paper. I want a memo. You with me? And keep it succinct. Now, use your sources. And I don't know how much my colleagues hammer on you about the sources. Let's do one thing here real quickly. I'm using my machine. That's Cardinal Buddy at our house. So you see him there? He's in the Tetons. You see the sun? It's very, very prophetic, because of course the sun eclipsed. There's an eclipse. I was going to simulate an eclipse for you, but I don't want to take the time. Okay. But there he is in the Tetons, smiling at you. He's not real happy today because he's 4.5 games out, and got some real problems in the bullpen. Nonetheless, okay, I want to make sure that when you come in here, you can get to the Microsoft Word products. How many of you are not able to get to Word or Access or anything like that? There's a login process. If you should see a little thing called VMware. Is it on your machines? Okay. And when you open that, when you click on that, it'll give you a username, which should be the number of your machine. Okay. Then the password is the number of your machine. And you click it, and it logs you into our virtual server. And on our virtual server is Office with all the products. And if you click that, it's Start, and go to Programs, you'll see them there. And then click on it if you want to use Access, Excel, or anything. Okay? I had a class that went crazy because I'm here lecturing, and they're going, I don't have Excel, I don't know what's going on. And I had forgotten that we're moving to the cloud like everybody else. It's much cheaper for them to store it out on the cloud and have all of you go into a virtual server and pull that stuff out and open up the program than it is for them to come in and load the programs in every time it changes. So that's an example of that type of thing. I'm going to stop. Any questions other than how do I drop? There's a lot of us in here, and they say, are you really going to go sometimes and open up somebody's case response? You bet I will. Okay. Now, usually, before I do that in a class, I typically go through to find the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if yours is ugly, I don't show that one. But if it's a good one, and it's got some good things in it, fine. Now, how many of you can get or use Microsoft Word on your computer? Yes, okay. I want to show you something. Maybe they've shown it to you, whoever they are. Let me say this. Whoever they are, I don't know, but I know they've been against me all my life, and I'm going to find them at some point. So click on All Programs, okay, and go to Microsoft Word, and I'm going to show you something that will help you a little bit, because I do want you, to use some references and to do it fairly well. Now I'm going to open up a blank document, okay? How many of you know about the references tool in Microsoft Word? I see one hand. I'm going to show you something. You click on references, and it will show you, you can select the style, etc. So if you have one of those pesky electronic references, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to click Manage Sources. This is a database, and I have I have a source that here's a textbook, okay, for a source, and if I want to start, I want to do a new one, it will give me a little menu, and let's say this is a website. Because one of the things I'll get, someone will cite a website, but then nothing else. Click on this, then make sure show all bibliography fields, and you just fill it in, and then it will give you a beautifully formatted APA6 format reference list. So I want you to use references and do it the right way. The reason is so the reader, okay, can tell, is this a good reference? Where was it from? How long ago is it that somebody used it or accessed it? And you're good to go. Okay? And it will give you a nice, perfect bibliography. I'll show you. I'm going to close this off for a sec. And let's see. Bib. And just did the drop-down menu. Okay, I didn't have any sources of that. Let's see if I've got one here. Well, here's some book. You can see the books. Ah, you weasel. Oh, it's not going to work for me. But on your when you click down on bibliography, it will show you, okay, because I haven't put any sources in here on this, but it will show you what they're going to look like. And once you've added your sources, it'll arrange it, put it in alphabetic order. When you do a little drop-down menu, it'll put it in the proper format, and you're good to go. This should make writing some of your papers a lot easier for you than what you've gone through before. Let me go to the student view for a minute. Go back up here. And I'm going to go to the settings, and you've been seeing a lot of stuff that I've got. I'll go to the student view, and there's always a question about, okay, uploading work. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go over here to syllabus. Okay. And here's this thing that was due today at 2 p.m. All right. And I want to go ahead and I want to submit my work. All right. So I'm going to go to the case follow-up. All right. And I'll go back. I'll go back here. Okay, and I should be able to log in to click this link and give me the upload. If not, I'll go to the modules area. Okay, and I should be able to. And here it is. It's probably going to be easier to upload there in the modules area. All right, and yeah, I can go down and I can just go ahead and click the upload, and you're good to go. Everybody see their upload buttons there? You may not because I've got instructor access, but you should. All you need to do really is just upload the file right there. Okay? So that ought to take care of that piece. Let's see. Here's exam over Loudon. Here's another project that's due. Now, I'm going to leave that student view for a second. And let me stop again and see. Any questions? All right. Any? I think for those of you who are athletes and got a lot of stuff going on, I shouldn't be getting an email that goes, I'm going out of town. I was out of town. What did I miss? And I'll say, well, go see the video. And you'll miss that day. We had a kegger and pizza. Nah, I will. Won't do that. The kegger, I'm not going to waste money on pizza. I'm teasing. That is a joke. All right. That is a joke. Well, I think I've got it started going pretty well. And what I'll do now, Wednesday is convocation. And so I got blown out of the water for my 11 o'clock. And I gotta go back and do some more tests at the doctor's office Wednesday afternoon. So I'll live stream this, or I think I'm gonna do a pre-record for the Wednesday class session and to get us rolling. And I will probably, I don't know, I might go back and rechange that. But let me say this, if I go back and change this first assignment that was due, we'll go back over here for a sec. We'll look at the assignments area. There it is. If I do that, I will make it due no later than tomorrow, okay? And you say, okay, on the follow-up, how many pages? I'd like that 50 to 100 pages. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's one volunteer already. You probably want to leave first. They may want to throw you out the window later. 2 or 3 pages at most. Paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. Keep it succinct. Give me some references. You know I like charts, visual stuff. Okay? So we're good to go, and be looking for, I'll send you an email if I'm gonna live stream the class, which I don't think I will, or if I do a pre-recorded one, I'll have it over here for you. And then we'll give you some information too about the Labor Day, which will blow us out of the water as well. Okay? All righty.
Oh, I apologize for not getting that assignment done. I looked at it and I just assumed it being in your class before it was something we do in class or something. There's no excuse for it. I know that.
Actually, you got $100?
Not on me, but I do have $100. We work something out.
I'm kidding. I'll probably just move the assignment thing back.
I appreciate
$1,000. Constitution. Yes, ma'am.
I did the case study in more of like a paper format. Is that okay for this one?
It's more like a formal paper.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give you an F. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm teasing. It's fine.
Okay.
But don't do that to me again.
I will.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yes.
If we've already submitted it, but we're not, are we able to like resubmit a alternate version?
You can do it. You can add a file. Okay. But with this system, as opposed to Moodle, it's kind of hard to do a draft. Okay.
Because basically what I did was I mostly recapped the case and added a few things to the book more than anything else.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Question.
How do you access the virtual lab days?
Okay, I'll show you real quick.
Yes, that's exactly.
All right. Yeah, of course, they chose not to tell us. Why tell us? We're just the people using the lab. We'll click this here.
Yeah, do we have to come here for those days? Or can we do it at home?
No, you can do it at home. Yeah, you can. That's why I'm saving that. I'm recording that right now. In fact, I need to stop that recording real quick.
And by us logging in and doing the video shows that
You've attended. Yep. Okay. And if you've turned in work, you've attended. I'll stop the share, and then I'll stop the recording.